I am here with Mark. He has been coming to Oakland for 20 years. He's a season ticket holder. He roots on his Raiders no matter what. Who is going to be the new head coach of this team?
Well, you know what? Right now we have to take it day by day because we don't even know where we're going to be next year, let alone get a coach.
What keeps you coming back?
Just look around you. You feel the fire. You feel the love. It's family. It's something like you can't explain unless you live it. And living it is a daily basis. I wake up and I breathe and I think Raiders.
That's it. You got the answer. They don't just come to Raider games. They live it. They breathe it. They love it. The Lakers and the Clippers are almost at the halfway point, and the Indy Car season, they're going to shake things up in 2015. Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Maria Serrao. We are here today at the Staples Center for the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, the Los Angeles Lakers are still trying to find ways to win, and after 20 games in, head coach Byron Scott decided he would shake up the lineup, and so far, so good. You've had a lot of games that have gone the other way. Why did this one go for you guys tonight?
I thought we hit big shots, and I thought, on that last possession of defense, that was a great possession. I thought Nick did an unbelievable job down the stretch. They were trying to go at him a little bit, and he did a great job on the defensive end and obviously on the offensive end.
Jeremy, the bench was huge in turning the tide tonight. You had three players, you, Swaggy, and Booth, scoring double figures. What's the identity of this second unit right now?
Try to give him a boost. We try to give him a boost. We sit there, we watch, and then when he puts us in, we try to run around with as much energy as we can and bring as much pace and energy. And I think that's the job of every bench unit. I think it's who we're built to be. I think you have guys, shooters like Wayne and Nick, and who can get out, they can finish, they can, as they showed tonight, they can shoot. You have Booz, who loves operating pick and rolls, and Sack can really move his feet, can run, and so we just really try to, get the stop, secure the rebound, and then we just try to fly out there.
Big shout out to Swag. Swag had a great game, and then Cole was clutch, man. Every play on the stretch, hitting shots, making plays. Our defense was great tonight. We got the rebounds when we needed to get them, I guess, at the end of the game, and good team win.
Did you change anything about the rebounding? Because they were having their way with you on the
No,
court.
some of that was just bad bounces. You know what I mean? Sometimes, it's a 50-50 ball. They would get to it. Sometimes we just had some bad bounces out there because they took a lot of three-point shots tonight. You look back at the stat sheet on some of the games that we lost, some of those free throws come back to haunt us. So for us to make them, knock them down tonight, and it probably won us the game.
Just learning from Cole. Cole was telling me things to do out there, back doors, and just talking to me. I think that meant a lot. And, I had a little wagers with Coach Presley. He said I don't get fouled a lot, so tonight I try to make it an effort to try to get fouled.
Second time in your career, you've gone 12 for 12 from the line. As a team, you guys went 28 for 30. I guess it's true the free throws win games, huh?
Oh yeah, we all, that's all we do after every practice is shoot free throws. And Coach Scott made that an emphasis, and we've been doing all right. Even my man Ed been making free throws. He been doing hold that. So we've been doing all right.
The Clippers are plugging along. They're doing very well, but there still seems to be a missing piece. We're not exactly sure what that is yet. Before we can put them into the conversations with the very top teams in the West, here's more with Coach Doc Rivers.
I told her, what I love is they got up and we needed stops, and I think from the 5:30 to the 1 minute mark, they scored 0 points, and that's a great sign of a team. When you're not playing well, and all of a sudden you can go on a defensive run, and that's what we did. We just got stops in a row, and we start scoring the basketball. And you're not going to play perfect every night. We've had a great stretch of good play. Right now, like I said the other day, these 40 games, you could just see everybody right now. Good games, bad games. It's a struggle right now for everybody, and I just told our guys, it's not going the way you want it to. Grind it out, find a way, and our guys did that.
This is kind of the Clipper team that we expect to see, large domination like tonight. What was different for you guys tonight, do you think?
We're just starting to play. You know what I mean? It's been a roller coaster. You know, new players, you know, a couple new coaches. It's just, you know, I think everyone expects you to snap your finger to be magical. You know what I mean? We know what we have here. We have a lot of talent, and it's just going to take a little while to get going.
What was it like having Spencer back in the lineup tonight?
It's good. You know, Spencer does a lot of different things on the defensive end, and he stretches the floor on the offensive end. So it's good to have him back, and we're just trying to get everybody healthy at this point.
Interesting when you see Chris, who had low points tonight but facilitated so well for everybody else. Talk about that.
I mean, Chris picks and chooses. That's what makes him great. You know, he can score and he can distribute the ball. And, you know, tonight he was more of a distributor and, you know, got JJ going and got some other guys going, Jamal. And, you know, that's just what kind of night it was for him tonight.
Doc always talks about things that you work on, that you need to work on in practices. What do you think has been the biggest difference for you about third way into the season now?
Just feeling comfortable, you know, just feeling comfortable with situations. You know, early on I was in and out as starter, coming off the bench. Now that my role is secure, you know, just locking in on my job every night, which is, you know, to guard the best player and do the best I can at it.
Now, the Oakland Raiders only had 3 wins this season, but they did beat the 49ers, and in San Francisco, that's pretty much like winning the Super Bowl. I had a chance to catch up with the players after the Buffalo win, and they talked about possibly a new coach and the maturation of their quarterback, Derek Carr.
Well, the thing you like about Derek is he's tough. He's tough, you know. I think mentally he's tough, physically he's tough, and you know, he doesn't get too down. You know, there's been some games this year where you would think, you know, a guy may get, you know, be down, but he hasn't let it affect him one bit, and he continues every week to come out, man, and perform like a professional, and that's huge, especially from a young guy, man. So we're all, you know, very proud of him. You know, actually, as a young guy to come in and have to take over this team, man, he's done a great job.
Hey, take us through the interception today.
Man, just threw the ball to the man I was on, and I was able to get my head around and get my hands on the ball and come down with it. That's pretty much what it was. This is, you know, one thing our coach said to us last night is leave this game with the crowd wanting more. And I think that's what we try to do, is come out here today and last home game of the season, come out here and get a win, man, for this team, for the organization, and for, you know, Raider Nation as well. So it felt good. It felt good to get that win. This team has never really gotten down to the point to where, you know, we're ready to give up. It's always been an upbeat attitude, you know, with the guys on the team, and it shows out there each week. We continue to come out there and just continue to fight to try to get wins, and today was no different. You know, regardless of, you know, what's been going on, man, we came out and gave it what we had. I think he's done a strong job for us. You know, of course, I'm not privy to those decisions, but up until this point, he's definitely made his case. Every day it's about work with me, you know. It's about going out every day and, you know, giving what you got. You know, I've been in this game a long time, and the one thing these guys can see from me is that I'm still out there every day working. You know, I've rarely taken a day off in the last couple of years, and I think the guys respect that, and they understand that this thing means a whole lot to me. It means a great deal to me, and regardless of, you know, wins or losses, you know, how my body feels, you know, from week to week, that I'm going to go out there and give what I got, man. And that's something that guys can look to, you know, whether it's a young player or an old player. And they can feed off of that and, you know, maybe put some of that towards their own game.
Most teams that go through a year like we went through this year and end the season on a good note, end with some wins, end with some momentum going into that next season, is that team that is pushing for the playoffs that next year. It's I don't know why, I don't know how it does it, but it just always ends up that way. And that's why I want to keep this momentum going, you know, with another win. If we end this season on that good note, it sure can push into that next season.
And finally, there is so much history at Dodger Stadium. I found a story that takes us all the way back to the 1965 World Series. Now, 2 men that didn't know each other at the time but had very different views of the game. Now, Sweet Lou Johnson played hero for the Los Angeles Dodgers, while a 17-year-old named Norm Peters was simply a hot dog vendor so he could watch his beloved Minnesota Twins play in the big game. Now, I brought these guys back together, yes, 50 years later. We're going to start the story with more on this series from Dodger historian Mark Langell.
It was an amazing World Series. When you look back at 1955, people think that's the first and only championship in Brooklyn, but they also forget that the Dodgers lost the first 2 games. And it was the same thing in 1965. After sweeping the Yankees and making it look so easy, suddenly Game 1 of 1965 was interesting because Sandy Koufax, the ace pitcher, is not going to pitch because of Yom Kippur. And they lose the game. Don Drysdale gets knocked out of the box, and he has the presence of mind, even though he's on his way to a 7-2 loss. When Alston gets to the mound, he says, "I'll bet you wish I was Jewish." And, you know, they had that laugh because what are you going to do? So Koufax comes back in Game 2. He's going to even the series, right? No, he loses. So suddenly, it's 7-2, 5-1. They're in a hole. They go back to Los Angeles, and how confident could you possibly be knowing that the Twins, this team, this up-and-coming team with Soyo Versailles, the MVP of the American League, and other powerful people like Harmon Killebrew, they're up 2-0. They're in the driver's seat. Suddenly, Claude Osteen comes up with the game of his life and shuts out the Twins in Game 3. Suddenly there's hope, and the Dodgers win Games 4 and 5. So then they go back to Minnesota thinking they're in the driver's seat at 3-2. And just like 1955, the Dodgers were in the same position, and they lost the possible clinching Game 6 on the road. So now it's all going to come down to a Game 7. Koufax is going to pitch on 2 days rest. He's got nothing but a fastball after the 6th inning. Somehow he ekes out a 2-0 victory. But the surprise in all of that is Lou Johnson, because he hits a home run in the 4th inning. The Dodgers score another run. But Lou really typified that season because Tommy Davis had injured himself in late April, sliding into second base, and suddenly, without a 2-time National League batting champ, what are you going to do? And in spring training 1965, Lou Johnson was not even on the 40-man roster. He had arrived in 1964, spent the entire year at AAA. They'd gotten him in a trade for Larry Sherry, but it was just insurance. Nobody gave it a second thought. So 1965 comes around. They don't even think about Lou as far as a possibility. And when he first reported to the team in Cincinnati, he really had to introduce himself because he had spent all that time in the minor league clubhouse in spring training 1965. So just imagine going from spring training 65, playing on the side fields, you're a journeyman, you haven't been in the major league since 1962, and suddenly you're in the middle of this champagne celebration 6 months later in Minnesota. Just an amazing year. Whenever you think of 1965, Sandy Koufax because of the perfect game and the shutout in Game 7, but it's also definitely the year of Lou Johnson.
I'm sitting here with 2 gentlemen who were at the 1965 World Series. Sweet Lou, you played in the World Series. Norm, you were selling hot dogs at the World Series in Minnesota.
Yes, I was, and you could say I was playing too, because I was the worst hot dog salesman the Minnesota Twins ever had. When the game would start, I would sit on my hot dog box, sit down and watch the game. Anyone's going to buy a hot dog for me, they had to wait between innings because I was just watching the game.
How did you get that job?
Well, when you're young, 16, 17, you're just looking for work. So, and I lived a mile away from the ballpark, and I wanted to see a lot of baseball, and this was a great way to do it. Go be a vendor, and then get inside the stadium and just to enjoy some, at that time, great baseball.
Okay, and you were pretty much on a high because the first 2 games, Dodgers were supposed to win. They had the best pitchers, but the Twins won those 2 games.
Yeah, Twins came through, won the first 2. Then, unfortunately, they had to go to Los Angeles.
Right here, where we are right now.
Right where we are now. And then they won the next 3. And then, thank goodness for Jim Mudcat Grant, when they went back to Minnesota, he gave the Twins the victory to knot it up at 3 games apiece, and then that dreaded Game 7.
Sweet Lou, you came from spring training that year and went all the way to the World Series. Did you have time to think about that?
I had been thinking about that 20 years prior too. So, and to me, it was a blessing. I was prepared to do anything, just get to the major leagues at the time. But to have a season like that after so many years of just being on the borderline, you cherish it a little more. And a lot of people was happy for me, and all my family and everybody.
When you think back to Game 1 and 2 that you were supposed to win, the Dodgers were supposed to win those 2 games, and you didn't, what's going through your mind in the clubhouse as a player?
It was a money time.
The truth comes out.
The longer we stay, the more money we get.
That's right.
And they know I needed it bad, you know. Being a player, you didn't think about that too much. I didn't. My season was a season of renovation where I got a chance to show what I could do in the years that I missed. Okay, it was like a revenge for part of my life, you know, and luckily I got a couple of hits.
Just a couple at the right time.
Yeah, right time.
Do you remember a lot of Dodger fans being in Minnesota when you were playing there?
He wasn't. And I used to watch him all the time.
He was not Sweet Lou in Minnesota. Nobody was yelling, Sweet Lou, Sweet Lou at that time.
At that time.
Oh, they were.
But you know, we didn't have too many fans. You know, we coming from L.A.
Right.
And we came in our private plane, you know. The few people were there were like glad to be in a World Series, and the few that knew the everyday players from what they, Minnesota. We all kind of come together to make this a big one, okay? We really did. And if we got to the 7th game, I know we had a chance because Khufu was going to.
Khufu, who didn't play in the first game because he had to honor Yom Kippur.
Well, he was getting ready for the cold weather. You know, you have to do a little testing in there, you know. It was kind of chilly, though. That's a big chill coming from Los Angeles to there.
Was it?
And yeah, you know, that's wintertime back there in the Ice Bowl.
What kind of a manager was Walter Alston? Was he nervous? Was he a calm manager? How did he sort of take the beginning of that series?
He liked me. He liked me. He liked me because I had to hustle, especially after Tommy Davis had broke his ankle, and the team was kind of in a little dilemma. And I came along because I had been, you know, spark plug, and he gave me a chance to play. That's all I wanted. There was a chance to play, regardless. And for that, I would be so grateful for that.
When you walk out here on this field, this very field where you played, what goes through your mind?
World Series, right? It does.
Night before Game 7, where were you?
Trying to get to my room. On time.
Where were you, Norm?
Let's see. I was forgetting to do homework because I was going to the University of Minnesota and just geared up for Game 7. And the thing is that Lou mentions, they had this gentleman named Sandy pitching for them. We had Jim Cott on the mound. If you ever want to have a Game 7, Sandy Koufax against Jim Cott, and it was 0-0 until this young man puts it in the bleachers. And that proved to be the game winner right there. Sweet Lou.
So, Sweet Lou, you were a little late for that game, I hear, Game 7?
Yes.
What happened that morning?
Nothing. Here's the whole key, and I didn't tell a lie. I had a friend of mine who worked up there. So he had me for breakfast. I didn't ride the bus. I usually ride the bus. When I got there, it was a little late. No, it wasn't a little late. I'm going to take that back. What happened was,
whenever something
what happened
was
that magical man, our manager, had arms as big as Popeye's. And I noticed the strength he had because he used to go through the locker lifting players with magic. And I watched that all summer long. First thing popped in my head, oh God, I hope we don't have to go through that. I will never ever play again in baseball. And he didn't scold me. I can't say what he said. But it was uplift in two ways. The confidence he had in me. That's where I saw it. The confidence after all the years I spent in the minor leagues. He had confidence in telling me some things without getting harsh. And that's what that was. And that's what I took it. You know, I got to do something, but I was scared.
Well, it's whatever happened the night before, this guy came to play in Game 7.
Yeah.
And he did what he had to do. Yeah. He hurt my feelings, but he lit up all the fans in Los Angeles.
Oh, God.
Do you remember what you said to Sandy Koufax that morning?
No.
Maybe something about that you would make sure you got the hit?
Yeah. I told him I was going to get 1 run, so you stop it at that, okay? 0. Then we end up getting 2 runs, and I was a little mad at that, you know. I would like to say a little something about Sandy in relations to me. He took me by the hand. Now, here's a man worldwide come to get it and touching a guy who had been in baseball, minor leagues for so long, and he just did some things for me, you know. One time, I don't like to wear socks in the summertime. So he put 6 pair of socks in the dressing room and said, you don't have to wear them same socks all the year. Little things like that, which is comfort. You know, how many people get a chance to be a friend of Drysdale and go for big pictures like that?
That's right.
That's a motivation. That's the way I looked at it, you know.
Yeah, and I think they felt the same way about you.
Yes, and I was doing pretty good during that year. I was kind of clutch, because we need all the clutch we had after Tommy Davis broke his ankle.
You were breaking his heart, but you were not breaking Dodger fans' hearts.
And I'm glad we are old enough to know about that now, because we didn't argue. We laughed about it.
Doesn't mean I'm forgiving you or anything.
No, you can't.
You know,
Norm, you grew up to be a reporter. When was the first time you met Sweet Lou?
When I moved out here and then began to cover the Dodgers, and to find out this Sweet Lou Johnson that everybody talks about is just that. He is, when you meet him, you love him. He's that kind of guy. And although it didn't make that home run any easier for me to take back in Game 7, we become friends, and I'm honored for it.
Oh.
And finally, when the 2015 Indy Car season comes to an end this year, they will not crown their champion at a night race in Fontana, but at a day race at one of our favorite racetracks, Sonoma Raceway.
So we've seen growth in the series. We've seen growth in our event as our fans have come out and discovered how exciting Indy cars are on this track. And so I think adding this now as the season finale will be another great boost for us. We get pretty positive feedback from the drivers about our track. And the other thing is that the drivers, their wives or husbands or boyfriends, girlfriends, and the sponsors waking up in Sonoma and having this be the venue for a race has a lot of extra benefits. So we take full advantage of the backdrop that the track has to offer. As I said, I get to wake up in Sonoma every day, so I know what a wonderful experience that is. But there's so many great venues, wineries, and the other sorts of things that this area has to offer that become part of the experience and part of the weekend for our corporate sponsors. So that's all part of the package as well.
And that will do it for us. Remember, you can watch Playing the Field 24/7 at playingthefieldtv.com. I'm Maria Serrao, and before I leave, you're going to catch up with Kellie from Clipper Spirit. We'll see you next time.
It's my 5th season, so it's been really nice, and it's really good always getting the new team in and getting to know all the girls. And this year it's been a little bit more of a struggle because I'm in my upper division classes for school, so sometimes it's hard to juggle both, but I'm keeping up, and yeah, I love it.
What made you want to come back for a 5th season?
I mean, the rush, and especially since, I've been here since Blake's first year, and we've kind of been on the rise, and each year it's like that much closer, and so I just didn't feel like I was done yet, so that's why I'm back here, and I made it 1 more year or so.
People always want to know what the audition process is like, and for a veteran girl that comes back, is it just as scary every single year, or what does it feel like for you?
It is just as scary for me personally. Every single year you kind of, even if you skip 1 round from the other rookies, but it's still every single year I just get that rush and so many nerves, but it's turned out good so far. So,
what do new girls like to ask you?
what should I prepare for, what should I look forward to at auditions, and I mean, pretty much my advice to everyone is go in there with a positive mind. You know, you don't have a spot to lose yet as a rookie, so my second year was the scariest for sure.
Interesting that you talk about being here in Blake's first season. You've really seen this team go from really kind of obscurity now to one of the contenders. I mean, what is that like? You're cheering for a contending team now.
Yeah, my first season, it was pretty much empty like this. And by the end of the game, it was pretty empty, and but everyone's spirits were always high, and so you've just seen the fan base grow, and everyone's a lot more supportive of us as well, and so it's been really nice, and I'm just looking forward to seeing the team grow and moving forward.
Yeah.